It just makes me wonder where Arrow is now, because I haven't seen it at all. Also, where do I go from here? Because, there's no way to get onto this ledge. Well, I mean, okay, probably go in through that door that's currently closed. This leads back downstairs. So, now what? Maybe I go over here. Maybe I fall down this hole over here. The one I had to grapple across. Can I just fall down here? No, I can't just fall down here. Can I just arbitrarily open the door? No, I can't just arbitrarily open the door. What if I use a different... Okay, I can use a sword. It's like the switches in the ice cave. You just use your sword to activate them. Good to know. Worms we can take care of with no issue. Because they just die to axes. Yeah, I know I mentioned earlier that I'm not looking forward to Pazuzu's Tower, because Pazuzu's Tower is the place that even, at least as far as I've seen, even the speedrunners of this game dread, because it is home to some pretty unforgiving RNG. Some pretty unforgiving RNG when it comes to just trying to make progress. Because there's this whole thing with an elevator trying to catch the boss. And I remember that being very annoying. And I don't know, like, whatever patterns it has, or whatever. That's probably something I'll look into. Oh dear. Cast the life spell, thank you. That's something I'll look into when I get more into the speedrun side of things, but, we'll just have to put up with the RNG as we come across it, in the tower proper. For right now, I think we can use some of these, holes to get at that place downstairs we couldn't get to. But yeah, looks like that's actually a way forward, like in general. So let's take care of all these enemies before we do too much else here. Yep, my mind's drawing a blank again, as far as stuff to talk about. Because I don't usually talk a lot these days. Like, usually at work, like, yeah, I'll talk to people on the phone at work, but... You know, that's only for like a minute at a time. I've been so fixated on trying to beat this game, like I had made plans to like cook dinner tonight, and I mean, for one thing, I didn't end up doing any prep work for whatever reason. And this, you know, what I was looking at making was, you know, did require some prep work that I just didn't have time to do at all, or really space to do it in. So I kind of that was my reason for blowing that off. But I was just like, fuck it, and I just like reheated leftovers from last night, and that was it. It's like I wasn't like mentally, I was just, if I want to, you know, beat this game tonight, I'm not going to spend like however long cooking, because Like, I don't normally get around to start cooking until, like, I get off work at 5. It's like maybe 5:30 or 6 when I start cooking, and sometimes I don't get to eat until, like, 7 or 8, and I don't want to eat that late anyway. I guess we go up this way. No, we don't go up this way because there's no point in doing that. Where the hell else are we supposed to go? Because I don't see any other pathways or doors that we can take. Unless there's some, like, kind of... Can I grapple onto that? No, I can't grapple onto that. Okay, or can I? No, I cannot. So there is no way, like, I can... like, grapple off to the side or something. No. And these just lead down to... These are pointless. They lead directly to areas I've already cleaned out. Like, I don't even know what the point for these anchors is if you can't, like, get anywhere with them. I don't know, man. And I'm not really in the mood to look up a map for fucking Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I think that's maybe what I have to do. Like, I think I remember looking up something. I had to look up a walkthrough or something like that when I was playing this before, like a few years ago. Oh, no, I see. Okay. There we go. I just wasn't looking hard enough. That's honestly like a common problem with me sometimes. I don't have very good attention to detail. And I can overlook things extremely easily. Sometimes there are things that I can see that, you know, I can spot before other people, but I'm sure at least 50 other people, like, even if there are that many people watching this, 50 people would have seen where I was supposed to go before, you know, I did, so... I'm very hit and miss with stuff like that. These are all worms, so I don't have to worry about these fights taking too long. That was one of the big things that really ate up a lot of time in the Lava Dome, was a lot of those encounters with the, I think it was with the Medusas. They just took forever. I mean, here, yeah, we have the frogs, and the frogs seem to be taking a while, but, like, not nearly as long as... I don't think they were taking as long as those, like, Medusa Gargoyle matchups. And most of the stuff in here are like trees and worms, and we can get rid of those with axes, no problem. Just gotta find our way up, see what's on neither of these paths. This just loops around here. Oh well, it's more experience, that's fine. I know that's a bit ironic coming from me, where I was saying, like, earlier, I'm not going to fight all these guys in the forest again, but... Yeah, so the way I see it with this game, like, I'm willing to clear out an entire area once. If I go back, if I have to leave and then come back in, I'm not going to fight all of the enemies again that way. But, you know, I should at least be able to get plenty of experience fighting the enemies that I do fight. Especially since there are a lot of people who play this game and they just, like, ignore every encounter because they don't want to deal with that. And I can understand. I mean, that's the thing that kind of gets me about a lot of people who play RPGs, or JRPGs at least, is they don't want to fight anything, and then they don't get enough experience, and then they complain that it takes too long, but then they complain that they're not, you know, powerful enough to, or they don't know, like, the proper strategies to go on in the game. And what I normally do, I haven't played a lot of JRPGs on camera, but what I normally do when I normally play a JRPG is, you know, whenever I get to a new town, I see how much it is to buy all of the best available equipment for each character, based on how I want things set up. And then I will grind until I have enough money to buy all that equipment. And usually by doing that, I'll gain enough experience points to survive, you know, at least up to the next boss in the process. Now, again, like I said, it depends on the setup. Like, when I played Final Fantasy V, like, I remember, like, early attempts at playing Final Fantasy V, like, back when I first had it on the GBA. I remember trying to get, like, 4 of everything, because, you know, like, I understood how the job system worked, but, like, I was also under the impression, like, oh, it'll be easy to just, like, increase everyone to, like, max level in every job. And that is simply not the case. So when I actually went back and played a couple years ago, and that was the playthrough I actually got past the first world because, you know, my focus didn't go elsewhere. I actually had a plan for how I wanted my jobs to level up and, like, have my setup at the end game. And I just leveled up those jobs. And basically through that, I knew like, if I had planned on, like, maxing out everyone's job levels, that would have taken for frickin' ever. And it would not have been worth, like, you know, all of the time spent grabbing all of the best equipment from every single settlement or whatever. And I just basically went with, you know, what the best equipment was for the job at the time. Or if I knew that I was just going to get a few quick job, well, like if I needed to, for example, with Lena, I had Lena set up for most of the game using white magic and summon magic. Although she was a summoner most of the time, like, she was specifically a summoner most of the time until I unlocked Mime, and then she was a Mime with white magic and summon magic commands. But most of the time she was a summoner because the stats were better. But if I ever needed to get to a point where, like, oh, I got new levels of white magic, and I need to increase her white mage level to start using, like, the next level. Like, if I needed to get her up to, like, level 4 white mage, so I could start using level. I think it's level by level. So I think, like, to get, if I got, like, level 4 white magic, I couldn't use it until she was level 4 white mage. So I would actually take some time and level her white mage up, and then switch back to summoner, and then, like, proceed with the rest of the story. But, like, Bartz and Ferris were mostly doing very, very, like, job point intensive stuff, like Ranger and Ninja, and so, like, they would stay on Ranger or Ninja until, like, they were done, and then they would move on to the next one. The job system in Final Fantasy V is very complicated, but it is very well done. And, you know, it's obviously the best part of that game. I mean, the story is nothing to write home about, the characters are nothing to write home about. I mean, the story isn't offensive, but, like, it's not, like, the most complex or good story. It's very, very basic. I mean, it's, you know, less basic than this game, but Yeah, that was one of the few times where, like, I would grind outside of getting money for equipment. I don't remember if I had handled Final Fantasy VI any differently, because I know that has like the whole Esper system and everything. And again, this was a couple of years ago, but my experience with 6, I think, was a tad less memorable to my recollection than 5. Hence why I like 5 more than 6. You know, unpopular opinions and all that. And I give 7 a lot of crap, because I don't think it's a good game. I don't think it's the worst game ever, but because 8 is definitely worse than 7, gameplay-wise, and at least as far as I've experienced. I haven't played 7 or 8. I've experienced them through watching other playthroughs. I wasn't going to get Final Fantasy VII Remake because I didn't care. I only have it now because it was available for free through PlayStation Plus. I'm like, might as well. I was going to try it on the demo anyway. But it's going to be a while before I get to it. I don't really care. I still have like 120-ish games still on my backlog. And that number really hasn't seemed to have budged that much, honestly, when it comes to my backlog. I like always seem to perpetually be at like 120 games, and I don't know why. It's been like that for years. And it probably has to do with the fact that I kept buying games like the past couple of years. Or gaining access to games to play. And they just kind of like, filed in as I completed games. But like, I mean, I still haven't bought any games this year. And I'm kind of going back on saying like, oh, I was going to buy, EDF, World Heroes, and Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Especially with Endwalker, because I actually stopped playing 14. I'm taking an extended leave of absence from 14 because of this whole backlog thing, and trying to focus more on that. And I don't even think I'm going to get that when it launches. I mean, I will get it eventually. I will play it eventually, but I'm not going to get it right away. I don't even know if I'm going to get it this year. Video games are not the most important thing in the world, honestly, and in more recent times, as I've become more and more disillusioned with how awesome things are within the game industry and all that, it's really kind of soured my mood toward like gaming as a hobby in general. Because, like, I knew that it was going to be easy to keep with my don't buy any new games for the year. And it has been very easy. Because I've been able to keep my focus a lot better. Did I obtain new games in the process? Absolutely I did. There were some games that I guess I technically bought off of the Switch eShop, but it was because Greg had given me some eShop credit for Christmas, and I considered those games to be a gift. And, my plan for not buying games said that I can accept games as gifts. Oh, I gotta go through all that again. Oh dear. That's okay. But I don't even think I'm gonna get Earth. I mean, I've put Earth Brothers up as a maybe I'll get it at some point. Like, I'm definitely going to be more interested in EDF 6. And yeah, I probably will play EDF 6 when that comes out. But like, who knows even if I'll get that when it comes out. I'm just so fed up with all the bullshit. And how people keep feeding into it. people feed into it, and then they complain that it happens, but then they feed into it again. And it's just like this vicious cycle. And, you know, you get... I get, like, a lot of negative impressions from both sides in this. And a big example is the whole backlash against Sony recently. You know, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, a few weeks ago, Sony said that they were going to, either at the end of this month or the end of next month, they were going to shut down the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita stores for buying digital games off of. You could still download games that you already owned. But they were going to be shutting down the ability to purchase games off of the digital storefronts for PS3, PSP, and PS3, PS Vita, and PSP. Those were the three. And that sucks, because, you know, we've seen what kind of stuff comes. I mean, Nintendo did that with the Wii, and to a lesser extent the DSi. When they shut down the old Nintendo Wi-Fi network, and they shut down, you know, years later, actually shut down the Wii store, so you can't buy anything for the Wii anymore. You can still buy stuff on the Nintendo eShop, which is on the current Nintendo network, which is the Wii U and 3DS and Switch, but you can't get anything directly off of like the Wii shop channel anymore. And that sucks because there are a lot of Virtual Console games that were released on the Wii that weren't released on anything else. That's like the big example I can think of. I mean, yeah, there were a lot of WiiWare games as well that are actually pretty good, like Mega Man 9 and Pokemon Rumble. Because I'm like one of the 5 people in the world likes Pokemon Rumble, but I digress. But there were a lot of those games on there that you could only get through that service. I mean, again, even for Virtual Console games, there were a lot of like Square Enix titles, like Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, Chrono Trigger. You can get those. Secret of Mana, even you can get those on the Wii, but you can't get them off of like you can't get them on a new 3DS through a Virtual Console. Like Chrono Trigger, you can still get like the DS version and play it on the 3DS. That's one thing, but like you can't get at least not in America. A lot of these games did come out for release they were released in Japan for the Virtual Console over there, but like not over here. And you could get them on the you could get them on the Wii, but not on the anything else over here, and it sucks. And you know, PlayStation folks, you know, people who own like those PlayStation consoles, they were going to be locked out of a lot of you know, downloadable PS1 titles, PSP titles, and so on and so forth. And the reasoning that they gave, or at least there was like one of the Western corporate guys. I don't know these guys by name. They're not as memorable people as, you know, folks at Nintendo, or you know, scumbags like Bobby Kotick, but there was like one guy, I don't know his guy. His name. I know a lot of like, you know, Sony folks and PlayStation folks will not know who I'm talking about. But he said that he didn't see the need to keep those stores up because nobody cares about those consoles anymore, and nobody wants to play those games. I mean, A, he's wrong. B, you're just it's something that a lot of I notice a lot of these companies try to do is they put words in our mouths, and you know, while some kind of see through that, there are others that don't. And then, like, they'll say like all digital gaming is the way of the future. And I've touched upon this before. They say all digital gaming is the way of the future. Is the future of gaming. That's the term that they use. The future of gaming. This is where it's going. So you better be ready. And that's only the way it is because they have the ability to make it that way. And it's another thing where they were trying to cut back on single player games because, you know, multiplayer games and you know, live service games were the future that they wanted. And they basically said that nobody plays single-player games anymore. Even though there are a shit ton of people who play single-player games still. But they say, no, the single-player games are on their way out, and multiplayer games are on their way in, so we're going to focus on multiplayer games now. And people were able to see through that, though. People were able to get them to see that, yeah, no, people are still playing these games. But that's the thing, is when that was the justification, at least this guy's justification for shutting down the digital storefronts, was nobody wants to play PS3 or PS Vita games anymore. And there were a lot of people, basically, who said, yes, we fucking do. And now they've gone back on it mostly. They're still shutting down the PSP store. Which is more understandable, I think, because, like, I don't know of a whole hell of a lot of people who still play PSPs. I'm sure those people do exist. The PSP is, you know, still a good system. But, you know, there are a lot of games on the PS3 and the PS Vita, and, you know, even PSP games on the PS Vita that you can't play any other way. And, you know, it's a slap in the face to those people who want to play them, to get rid of them like that. And they most recently came back and said, oh, well, okay, we get it, we're listening. You know, so they're still going to shut down the PSP store. But they're not going to shut down the PS3 or Vita stores now. So they're going to keep those stores open, which is great. But I also see it as a double-edged sword, because a lot of the entitled gamers, which are another sect of you know, video game fans that I don't care for, now know that if they yell enough, I mean, I guess if they yell enough, they'll get what they want. And I guess in a way that is a good thing, but, like, it's also... I've seen this work on the most petty of areas, like with the whole Mass Effect 3 ending debacle. I was just like, okay, the ending sucks. It's whatever. I don't care. I was still able to play through, you know, some great games because the ending sucked, but Mass Effect 3 was still a really good game. Yeah, there was a point where I was playing EA games. Who'd have thunk it? But, no, I forgot to heal myself. But, basically, it got to the point where when you have a, like a fan base like this that's just entitled to the point where they will just, like, scream at you until they get what they want, because that's how they were raised. And, you know, they changed the ending to Mass Effect 3, or they made, like, additional changes to the ending because of the backlash, and it's like, well, now you're just enabling this kind of, you know, entitled behavior, which I also don't like. I'm pretty much at a point now. I mean, I'm definitely at a point now where I hate being associated with the term gamer, because when I think of the term gamer, I think of, you know, the industry simps who will, you know, they'll just, you know, blindly follow because, yay, we got video games. This also kind of covers people who will call certain companies out on doing certain things. But when it comes to a company that they like, that made games that they like, they'll give them a free pass because they were this company that made the games that they like. a good example of this is fans of CD Projekt Red, who you know, they did all the same bullshit that, you know, EA and Activision and Ubisoft, you know, the stuff that we expect those companies to do. Yeah, they do the same thing. A lot of these big name companies do that because, you know, it's how they see making money. It's just, you know, abuse the workforce and coerce them into, you know, adapting to that. And it's wrong. But people were willing to give CD Projekt Red a pass on that because they made The Witcher. That was it. They made The Witcher, and The Witcher 3 was really good, so we don't care that CD Projekt Red does it. But we'll only raise a stink about it when Cyberpunk comes out. And now Cyberpunk is bad, and now it's okay. But, you know, the moment they announce yet another game, they're going to go back on it. They're going to say, oh yeah, we're going to buy this game anyway. Bethesda was the same way. You know, the same. I'm fairly sure the exact same people who called them out on their bullshit with Fallout 76 applauded them when they said Fallout 76 was going to be getting new DLC that actually made the game, you know, what it should have been when it came out in the first place. A year later. I'm just sick of everything, and like I don't even, like I said, I'm, you know, not buying any new games this year, but who knows if I'll, you know, buy any new games at all after this. I mean, like EDF 6 and new expansion for Final Fantasy, yeah, but